Hello, love wrestling. Oh my voice is cracking already. It's Thursday morning, November 21st. Everyone, welcome on in to the show. We are here. It's AEW day here at Firmly Love Wrestling. Had a few technical difficulties. I couldn't hear Drew half the time he was talking, but I think we got that figured out. Johnny's already in the chat. Yeah. A little bit of an echo, but we can hear you. We can hear you. It's better to hear you than not to hear you. So we're going to be fine. We got Johnny in the chat already saying morning, gents. Good morning to you, sir. We're going to be talking full gear today. We will be going through the full card, discussing the show that is happening on Saturday. We'll kind of lump in everything that happened on Dynamite and Collision for that. But I know right off the top, obviously – we'll get into like how everyone's doing. I know, Drew, you're feeling a smidge under the weather today. This is the first outside. It is like pouring rain out there. It's the first time it's rained in weeks.
Haven't experienced rain in quite some time.
That's what I was going to say. It feels like it's the first time it's rained. It feels longer than that, but I think it's the first time they said in over 3 weeks that it's rained over here. I woke up and I heard it. I was like, is it raining out? Oh my God. What? Couldn't believe it. But first and foremost, Troy, I know you're not feeling 100% today, but in general, how are you doing? Before we dive into this thing today?
Getting through it.
Yeah.
Omar, I'm not feeling determined today at all. So
I'm always determined. So, I'll drive it out of them because that's what professionals do.
I want to know what that M is at the end there.
I think that's just a mess up. I just think that's
a
mess up. I would guess.
Although,
do I have a new part of a nickname though? Because we could.
It's fine. It's very dark and dreary, and
it's one of those
adding to the mood of the day. So, and my microphone is seemingly not picking up what needs to be picking up. For some reason,
we can hear you. We can hear you clearly, but it sure feels like the audio is coming through your actual computer rather than that microphone. That's what it sounds like.
Okay.
So again, not a problem at all whatsoever. But
I did unplug it before. Yeah, and I replugged it, but this computer is ass, and I need a new one. So
got it. All right, fair enough.
Maybe it's not picking it up.
Fair enough. All right. Either way. Now, obviously, the way that we usually do, I was just going to say JPK. Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah. We tried it out for the first time last week on Beards. So if you tune in tonight, you'll see our second installment of the new Christianity podcast, apparently, that we have here at Love Wrestling on Thursdays.
Seems to be all the rave these days.
It is. Everyone's going a little nutty about it. But, yeah, so obviously, as you guys know, if you've been with us for a while, on pay-per-view weeks, we do a review and we kind of lump in the stuff in the card and things of that nature. However, you sent me a message last night on Twitter that you said you were not a fan of that episode of Dynamite last night. So before we start talking about the card and talking about what happened, I mean, we can talk about some stuff that happened in general here, but like, I want your general thoughts.
Wait a minute. I just thought of something.
Oh, wait a minute.
Hold on.
Yeah, no, we can make this work. Let's go. Oh, we're doing tech right here, guys. We're doing tech right on screen right now. Can you hear me still?
I can't hear you at the moment. I don't know if you can hear me.
We can hear you. You
can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. I just thought of an idea.
I'm going to take advantage and drink my delicious coffee while we're waiting with anticipation. Scott, how are you, friend? Welcome in.
Audio.
Drew's having mic issues, so he's literally going. We tried to fix it beforehand. Had a little bit of an echo, but he thought can't hear you. Oh wait, talk.
I can't hear you now for some reason. See, I don't understand what the hell's going on.
You sound. You can't hear me. You can't hear me. You sound worse.
Oh, I sound worse?
To me, you sound. Yeah, you sound more echoey. It's bad.
Oh,
it's not good. Yeah, it's not good. It was better the other way.
Never mind then. I'm switching back.
Yeah, that's what we do. This is live TV, folks. This is live shit. This is live stuff, folks. This is how we go. I thought that was going to work. But you sounded like you were in a small echoed room on that one. Like there's a little bit of an echo. I can't hear you at all now. Well, you're muted. Oh yeah. Here we go. We're figuring this out. But yeah, no, Drew messaged me last night and he was like, not a fan of that show. So once we got this figured out in a few minutes when he's back and talking, I want to hear Drew's just reactions of Dynamite as a whole, because he messaged me last night after the show and was like, didn't like that. Wasn't a huge fan. You're muted. No. I can't hear you. You broke it. You broke it, Drew. Drew broke it. Yeah. We're going to figure it out. Unbelievable. See, now we lost Drew. We're probably not even going to have Drew this whole show now. This is how this is going to go. You see this? Yeah. Goose Fraba. Wow. Unbelievable. Sunday Center coming in hot. That's fine. I'll entertain the masses. I'm not going to talk about anything significant. How's everyone doing this Thursday? What do you guys want to talk about?
He's such an asshole.
I can hear you now. I can hear you.
I can't hear you though.
Let me
hold on. Oh wait, let me turn this off and turn it back on again.
He's saying instead of saying me, I think you're saying mime your way. Yeah, mime your way through the show. Just figure it
out. He's such a prick. Hold on.
Can you still not hear me? He's miming himself through the show. For real.
Try and talk.
Yep.
Oh no.
Hello, Drew. How are you doing?
What the
Welcome
hell?
In. Firmly AEW with one
I'm
of us.
literally on the same setup now that I was on a moment ago. And now I can't hear you.
Check your settings. Check your settings in StreamYard.
That's what I'm doing. I'm changing the speaker settings. And it's not.
Yeah. Hello?
I've clicked on every single one and none of them are working. Literally, none of them are working, so I just can't hear.
Exit out and come back in.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I think you said leave and come back, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what I'm gonna do. Bye, everybody. Yep. Bye, guys.
It's the JPJ show today. It's the JPJ show today. So we'll get him off, and then he'll come back in. This is fun. I personally had no issue with Dynamite last night. I thought Dynamite was fine. Me and Drew are obviously going to give you our firmly AEW spin on Full Gear, but if you wanted to hear some other people's opinions on Full Gear last night after Dynamite, I hopped on a live show here on Love Wrestling with Pluggo, Auntie Collins from Fightful, and our pal Kimmy, and we did a Full Gear preview, the four of us, which was a lot of fun. So obviously Drew and I will give you our Firmly Love Wrestling Full Gear preview today when he comes back on here. But if you wanted to see, some other opinions of Full Gear, and you want to hear Pluggo talking about this friggin' kid that I still have no idea who he is the whole time. Drew, again, I want to wait for hopefully Drew to come back and before we dive in, because Drew seemed to not, I think he felt the same way you felt, Sinner, that it was a lot of talking. It was a lot of talking last night for a go home show. It's not that I disrespect the Riz. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Better? Good?
Yeah, you sound kind of more like you normally do.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, this is good. This is fun. I think you sound good now.
Chat, do I sound good? Do I sound better?
Yeah, let
to you
people in the
guys?
chat, let Drew know if he sounds good. He sounds good to me. He sounds good to me. So just if we can get some confirmations in the chat. Yeah, Johnny's saying they started talking, you know, I wanted to give you the floor because I know, like I said, you had messaged me last night and said you weren't a huge fan of that show.
No, it was
Last
fucking
night.
garbage.
Okay,
It
fair
was
enough.
garbage.
So we got some people like Bonker said it was okay. Sunday Sinner said felt there was too much talking. And then
I will
Johnny,
not hit a boom.
and then
I will never hit a boom.
and then Johnny said mid-show hated the Perry angle.
That was actually one of the things I liked.
I didn't hate that at all. I thought that was one of the highlights.
One of the very few things I actually.
Sinner says you sound better. I don't know if that's just him being a jerk. Johnny says
being
better.
jerk.
Bonker says good.
Okay.
I mean, look at our thumbnail today. Listen.
Our thumbnail today, I wanted to burn it. I'm just telling you that right now.
I'm not one of those wrestling fans that's gonna hate on that shit. I just don't know who these people are. It's harmless fun. I don't give a shit. It's harmless fun. The crowd's popping. I don't care. Like, I literally don't care. Like,
okay, it's not that
I'm not gonna be one of those.
I'm
not gonna be one of those guys that's like, why the fuck is this on my? Who gives a fuck? The guy has millions and millions of followers. Like, it's good for the company to get a guy to get. I just have no idea who they are. I don't know who they are still. The only time I've ever seen them is when they've been involved with I have no idea who these people are.
I have a TikTok. I do not do anything on it because I am 33 years old and have a life.
Oh, that's not. Come on. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy. TikTok is literally the most popular social media app in the world.
I know, for a reason.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
It's popular for a reason. It's because
that's how
mindless, droning entertainment for people who have nothing better to do. That's
not true. That's not true. So you're basically talking shit about 90% of our audience is what you're doing right there. So
okay, well, everybody in the chat right now, do you have a TikTok?
I guarantee you almost
on that TikTok?
Everybody in this chat is active on TikTok.
Are you active with that TikTok? Or are you religiously on that TikTok for entertainment?
Well, that's different. Religiously on it is different. Most of us have jobs. Yeah, I know Pluggo would feel attacked for sure. And
Pluggo also has 4 kids, so I'm not actually surprised that he is.
So Johnny's not on TikTok.
Okay, thank you, Johnny. Johnny, I stand in solidarity with you, my friend.
Listen, it is what it is. If at this point, this is full. He's not feeling well today. He's not feeling well today. I don't know if that's something behind it, but he is. We're getting healed.
Oh no, this is how I've always felt about TikTok. Honestly.
We're getting healed Drew vibes. Listen, I do not use TikTok.
Thank you, Bonkers.
I do not use TikTok a lot, but I am not gonna sit here and say that the most popular app that is out there is. I just can't. I can't do it. I can't do it. That is just objectively not a true statement. I just can't. I can say, hey, I used to use Twitter a lot more, but now Twitter's turned to shit. So I use other social media platforms way more than I use TikTok. But at the same time, come on. To me, I feel like there were people that said that about Twitter when Twitter was first around. You know what I mean? Like, there are people that were like, oh,
social media is the brain rot of
that. I don't disagree with that. I do not disagree with. The society has literally taken a downturn since social media became a prevalent thing. Like that, I don't disagree with. I just, I'm not going to hate on TikTok because a lot of people use
TikTok is part of social media, though.
It is. And I feel like a lot of people that, do good stuff got famous off of TikTok. So, and they do good, actual.
And congrats, congrats to you. If that was your method of getting famous, history will not look kindly on you in 20 years.
But your bank account will, and it will look more kindly than my bank account.
Well, it'll depend on the person.
That's how I'm doing it. But my
it
thing
will
is,
definitely depend on the person, because that money could go in less than 5 months.
Yeah, I didn't want to be rude, but the second I saw our thumbnail, I wanted to message them and be like, "Can we get another thumbnail?" Because no, we're not. The only way we ended up talking about these clowns is because they're on the thumbnail. I had to put up with it for an hour last night with Pluggo. He was mentioning these fucking people every match, and I'm like, I don't care about these guys at all. Now,
I
again,
did not get a chance to check out your full gear preview, by the way.
It was
I
good.
did see that
good.
clip that was posted about cows.
Yeah.
And
Hilarious.
That was very funny.
Hilarious. So like it's just one of those things to me where, again, it's on the pre-show. It's harmless fun. Like, I don't care. I honestly don't care.
Actually, the Disney Channel gave us Logan Paul.
Is that true? Is that where he started? Both of them?
Started on the Disney Channel, just like his brother.
Oh, they both started on Disney Channel. I thought they were just both YouTube kids, like when they were super young and just kind of went with it. They were on what channel? What were they on? Mickey Mouse Club?
There was a TV show that I don't remember. I am not going into my search history to bother with that show.
Yeah, why are we looking at what the policy who gives us crap about
Logan Paul? Logan Paul does not deserve it.
Neither of them do.
Well, true.
We didn't talk about that this week. We didn't talk anything on either of our shows about that boxing match last week. That was a dog shit.
That boxing match is a boxing match, and this is a wrestling podcast.
That's fair, but boxing is one of the great all-time sports ever in the history of mankind.
Take care, Pluggo.
Oh, Pluggo, love you, buddy. Tonight will be a fun one. If you mention the Rizzler more than 3 times, I'm kicking you off the show. But that's okay. But
you were mentioning there were some sort of disruptions last week. Maybe that disruption.
There were disruptions last week
again. I don't know.
I didn't pull up the footage because I was busy yesterday and I got lazy. But there were disruptions on Beards last week, and it was by one of us on this screen. So
don't know what you're talking about.
If you know, you know. Is that what the kids say? IYK. Pluggo's already warning me. He's like, "Well, might as well not show up, bro. Might as well not show up." He's like,
"They were definitely okay." Now you're making me do it. Now I have to fucking do it. That's annoying. I have to look up Logan Paul.
Okay.
I am not
so here's my thing.
That.
We are going to talk about Full Gear, but I do still want your opinions of the show in general. However, let's address the thumbnail and get it out of the way. This was not usually and it's a great thumbnail. Like, it's a well-made, perfect thumbnail. And usually I trust
hands credit to the person who created the thumbnail.
Great thumbnail.
Great.
Yeah. Great thumbnail. They always kill it with our thumbnails. And we usually don't have anything, like, I don't ask. I don't go, "Hey, can we have this as the thumbnail?" Like, I trust our people that they're going to watch the show and figure it out, and it's all good stuff like that. Last night before I went to bed, I decided to make this late last night, and I saw the thumbnail and I was like, why? I was like, why are these fucking people on the thumbnail? They literally don't matter at all. But again, and I just need to preface it. When I come out of the woodworks and I say, "Hey, I don't know who these people are," I'm not coming from an angle of like one of those wrestling fans that's like, who? It's not like that for me. I genuinely, up until these people have been on AEW television this last month, I don't know who they are. I literally don't know who they are. So, and I'm not saying that like, these wrestling fans where like a celebrity will come out of the woodworks or somebody will be performing and they're like, "Oh yeah," like I'm not doing it that way. Like, I just, like, last night during that promo, which again, harmless fun. It was fine. I have no problem with it. People dig it. It's all right. That's fine. But he said, "Oh, the Rizzler's coming on Saturday," and the crowd popped. First of all, shit crowd. One of the few times they popped was for the Rizzler. And everyone flips out. And in my brain, I'm like, I don't know who that is. I have no idea what that means at all. Like, I have no idea what that means. But it is what it is. And he's going to win this match. He is in the pre-show going up against QT Marshall. And yeah, I assume the Costco guy is going to win. Because why would you have him on your pay-per-view and bring in a TikTok guy that has millions of followers who's like famous at a different level? That he's not going to lose to QT Marshall. He's just not, right? He's going to win. Now, apparently he was a independent wrestler a long time, 10, 15 years ago, or he might still be, I don't know. But he does have a wrestling background, so it's not like he is like completely this random guy. Like he has wrestled before.
Apparently, I just found this out this morning. He was rated the #1 wrestler on Cage Match.
I saw that. Yeah, that was obviously fake.
Which is stupid.
It's hilarious, though. That's a hilarious thing.
It's hilariously cringe and says a lot about Cage Match. He is no longer, obviously. This was about a week ago, I believe that happened.
That's very fun.
And he's not even in the top 50 anymore. So
I mean, I would hope. When was the last time he had a match? I know he was an independent
according
wrestler.
to Renee 20 years ago.
Yeah, like I know he was an independent wrestler at one point. Like he was legitimately well, I assume he wasn't, come on. If he was good, he would have made it. But it's just one of those things where this is a gimmick match. Clearly, they're bringing in. It's on the pre-show, so it'll be on YouTube where it's free for everyone to see. They do have a big following. The kid will be there. Apparently, the Rizzler is another kid. He'll be there. There's going to be some shenanigans. QT Marshall is one of the perfect dudes to do this because he will definitely, do what he has to do, make the guy look good. The guy will get a win. They'll be able to promote Costco and all this stuff, and then that'll be that. And that'll be that. So, but anyway, he's on the thumbnail, so we had to address it. We've addressed it.
Yes.
We're going to be moving on.
You did, and we'll be moving on. And I am now going to put Mr. Sunday Sinner on blast because Jake Paul and Logan Paul have Disney wikis because they were on
Mickey Mouse Club
TV show called Bizarrevark.
What? Bizarrevark?
Bizarrevark. Yes. You bastard.
I never heard of it.
So
I never heard of it.
Fuck you.
Bizarrevark.
I was right. I knew I was right. A show called Bizarrevark also were in a show called Walk the Prank.
Yeah, no, this was past my time of the Disney Channel. I have no idea.
In the mid 2010s.
Yeah, this is past my time. Past my time here with the Disney Channel.
Gotcha. And I will get. You can thank me now. No. That was not
Fair
before
enough.
they became YouTube famous. They became YouTube famous in the mid 2010s, which coincided.
Why are we talking about these two?
I don't
pieces
know.
Of shit. Why are we talking about either of them? Who cares?
Talk to me on Slack later.
They're friggin' bums.
We're not talking about this now.
They're both bum human beings who are trash. Why are we wasting our time on my air talking about these guys? They suck. All right. Thank you. That's how I feel about the Paul brothers. They're bums. The fact that they are at where they are says a lot about our society, and not in a good way.
Well, also us wrestling fans fell for it. That's
look. If I'm speaking objectively, Logan Paul is excellent at professional wrestling. For somebody who just walked in, he is excellent at this professional wrestling thing. But the fact that they are where they are in society says a lot about, you mentioned the deterioration of human beings. The fact that those guys are where they are speaks to that fucking greatly. But anyway, I digress. We have a pay-per-view on Saturday. Full Gear. Going to be a good one, Drew. Going to be a good one. But first, before we dive in, I need, what did you hate? No, it's going to be good. The card is ridiculous. I'm looking at this right now. There are legitimately 4 one-on-one matches that could be match of the year caliber matches. Easily. Looking at this card. The matches in this card are insane. But last night was the go-home show. Didn't think it was the strongest of shows. You didn't like it. Other people in the chat didn't like it. So what was just your general opinion of how you kind of felt about that show last night?
It drags on too long sometimes. And I will say right now, I hadn't made a note to myself to pull this up, and then I forgot to do it, so I have to do it now. Last night, between the Claudio and Darby match,
which I liked
too. I did not dislike that. That
Claudio
was good.
beat the shit out of him. Holy
Oh,
moly,
boy.
huh? Wow.
A definitive victory in
My
a way
God.
that I've not seen a Darby loss
Like,
go in quite some
I'm
time.
not gonna say it was a squash match, but it was pretty damn close to like Claudio squash. Like it was Claudio just killing him and Darby not giving up until he just couldn't. It was yeah.
Okay. Claudio defeats Darby,
Yep.
and this is what happens after that.
Yep.
1 promo, 2 promos,
Mm.
3 promos,
Mhm.
4 promos,
Mm.
5 video promo. That was the Jack Perry thing, which was
With
good.
Daniel Garcia. Yep.
5,
Yeah.
6, 7 promos between Darby Allin and Claudio Castagnoli and the main event.
Yeah.
7 promos in a row.
Yeah.
In a row.
Yeah.
7.
Yeah. Well, here's
What
the thing,
fuck?
right? I know. And I want to talk about that, but we got Scott and Johnny kind of on the same parallel here. Scott says Darby better not be getting a world title push after that.
Well,
And then Johnny says hard to set up Darby after OC with a slaughter like that.
yeah.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it because I have, sometimes you like to put the fantasy booking caps on this show. I have an idea of where they're going with these 3, including Moxley, OC, and Darby. I think I have an idea of what's going to happen here. But we'll leave that for where we leave that. But I think for you, both of you guys, after OC, it is going to be Darby. It is going to be Darby. I don't know how we're going to get there after a slaughter like that, but it is going to be Darby. That should be next in line. If he wasn't, somebody said it in the review we did last night. It's a real shame that Eddie Kingston is hurt because Eddie Kingston would be the perfect guy to take that title off Monks. The perfect guy to do it, or like be in the line of people trying to take out Monks.
Yeah.
Even if he like
agreed.
Kingston would be just perfect in this mix. But obviously, injuries are injuries. You got to do what you got to do. But I feel like if Eddie Kingston was healthy and around, he would be pivotal in this storyline going against Mox. And I think it would be, man, it'd be really good. It'd be really good. All right, let's dive in to AEW. I don't disagree with you. I did, and Sunday Sinner said it earlier. And again, I am a wrestling fan who I love my pro wrestling, but I also love my story too. I love my promos too. I like them both equally. I don't sway one way or the other. Last night did feel like there was a lot of talking. It did feel like there was a lot of talking, and it felt like it was just a little.
And it's just
the
other thing is that it's just they don't have to be so long. Why did the MJF thing have to be as long?
First of all,
as good as it was, I actually enjoyed it.
Dastardly promo he cut talking about the shit he was talking about. My God.
And there's
True
people.
True story, by the way. That Roger.
There are people singing, including a good friend, Sean Ross Sapp, who are singing the praises of that Chris Jericho, Tomohiro
Oh,
Ishii.
I loved it. I loved it. That made, yes. No, I disagree. That's
exactly how I felt.
I fully disagree. When he was following him in the back, I was laughing my ass off. Now, I think they stretched it out. I don't think it needed to go to the ring. I think they stretched it out a little bit too much, like go into the ring and have, that start. But when Ishii was just following him in the back, that was hysterical.
Listen, you can do the Michael Myers thing.
Jericho was hilarious.
I think Alex Pulowski last night had said it probably would have been better had it stretched out for the entire show.
That I think would have been good if they showed it towards the beginning and then you just showed Jericho 3 or 4 different times throughout the show somewhere out back and Ishii's just behind him or following him. That would have been good. Yeah, Scott's saying that Kate even liked it.
Yeah.
She
Alex Pulaski, notorious Chris Jericho hater.
I like that.
Actually liked it too.
I thought it was hysterical. I was like, And Jericho sold it with the eyes, and like he was just like, he sold it. It was really good. I do think it stretched out a tad too long, like in the ring and stuff
Also,
like that.
it
But
was smack dab in the middle of
Yeah.
7 promos.
yeah, exactly. It was mixed in,
So-
but I actually liked the Jericho Ishii thing. I thought it was very funny.
How many
Um,
matches were on this show? Now I'm thinking about it. There was
the only 2 or 3 I have. Yeah, only
One.
2 or 3, maybe 4.
2, 3,
I'm gonna say
4,
4.
5. 5
5?
matches.
But one of them was Bobby Lashley destroying 2 dudes in a
Right,
minute.
so 4.
So yeah, so. But
Uh,
listen, for the matches they were last night, I thought the opening 8-man tag was excellent. I thought the opening 8-man tag was really good, a showcase for all 8 of those guys and the Callis family looking strong and stuff like that. Statlander and Sheeta had a good match. That was a good match I liked a lot. Bobby Lashley. One thing I will say about the squash match that Bobby Lashley did, hell yeah, cheeseburger. Hell yeah. Showing up on my AEW screen like that, cheeseburger. Ring of Honor legend right there. Got a huge pop, as he should. Yeah, and then Darby and Claudio and Orange Cassidy and Wheeler Yuta was a good main event as well. The matches that we had were good matches. The 8-man, like I said, the 8-man tag was great.
The finish, and Claudio and Darby were the highlights of the show for me.
Yeah, I liked Statlander and Sheeta too. I thought that was
It
good.
was all right. I
Yeah.
wasn't like
It's not
wowed by it.
Exactly. It's not anything we haven't seen before, but I thought it was a solid match. But yeah,
And then
what you're
don't think that Bobby Lashley needed to wrestle. I don't understand what that was about.
That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I think they would. They just wanted him to get out there once before the pay-per-view. I think you could have just
random as hell.
Yeah, I
and
feel like
also that's usually the babyface thing to do, not the heel thing to do.
my thing was we all know, like, okay, so I get it. Him beating up 2 guys at once. Like, yeah, I get it. He's a big, strong guy. But like, Bobby Lashley's been around the wrestling world for a while now. Like, at this point, if you're a wrestling fan of the last, even if you're a newer fan of the last few years, you should have an idea of who Bobby Lashley is and what Bobby Lashley brings. So, like, did we actually need to see Bobby Lashley beat up 2 guys at once? Like, I know he's jacked. I know he's like one of the top guys. Like, I know. And to me, it would have felt a lot better to just save his in-ring debut for the match with Swerve. Like, I feel like he didn't need, like, what did Bobby Lashley do in that match last night that was new to us? Like, I've seen Bobby Lashley destroy people. He's a monster of a man. I don't know. I don't think it hurt anything by having him do that. And it must have been, it was probably cool for the crowd to see him wrestle for a sec. But like, yeah, you could have just saved the debut for the match against Swerve, because we're going to talk about it in a second. But like, I assume most of us feel like Bobby Lashley's going to win that match on Saturday. They're not going to have him lose his pay-per-view debut match in AEW, are they? Like,
I hope not.
I just would think they wouldn't, even though I know it's Swerve. But like, I don't know. But I am in somewhat agreement with you in the chat, where I felt like that was a lackluster go-home show last night. I don't think it was a bad show, but I felt like it was a lackluster. There was a lot of talking. Here's my thing. You want to do 7 promos on your show? Fine. But why do all 7 of them have to be back to back to back to back to back to back to back? Spread that shit out. Do 2 of them at the beginning of the show, then do 3 of them an hour late. Like, why were there just a block of 6 different things happening? Boom. But like, you couldn't have put 2 of those right after the 8-man tag, and then another 2 right before. You could have spread them out.
But then the worst part about it is that then there are also promos all over the show.
Yeah.
All over the show.
Yeah. Yeah. It was weird.
Mercedes has to talk after Sheeta and Statlander.
Mm-hmm.
And Adam Cole has to talk. And what else was there? Somebody else? Oh, the conglomeration was all over the show last night.
They were. Well, the show was very much a lot of OC. Yeah, there's a lot of OC on the show, and the conglomeration with him. And
I don't hate the conglomeration, because I like genuinely everybody in it, but we don't need to see them like 3-4 times in a show.
How did you feel about that Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly segment? Because I thought it was fine, but I thought the crowd did not react at all to
Oh,
anything that was going on. That crowd
okay.
sucked. That crowd sucked.
Terrible
crowd.
Now
Now
Ebu
again,
from Wrestle Purist,
yeah, I
he
was gonna
put
say,
this tweet out yesterday
yeah,
about how the smaller 2025 they're going to start going
yeah,
to
smaller
venues,
arenas. Yeah,
and that's going to really help the ambiance of a crowd, because it's not a huge building that should have like 15,000 capacity,
yeah,
and only 5,000 are there. But also just and he was talking about how it's genuinely affecting some people's enjoyment. It can
like the
affect some,
the empty arena. You mean
like
the
just the lack of crowd like participation, in a sense, of every week's Dynamite, practically. Of
yeah,
just like last week, and I didn't really touch on this that hard like I really wanted to last week.
Yep.
But before the 10-minute mark of the start of the show, you could hear a pin drop in that arena.
Yeah, it was very quiet.
I'm like, and I think the start of the show there was some hot match going on.
Yeah, it was the 8-man tag. The 8-man
No,
tag.
not last night. I'm talking about last week.
Oh, last week. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
And I'm just like,
I'd have to go back and look, but they did start with the match last week, because I remember we talked about it, because they had been starting with promos. It felt like every week but these last 2 weeks they've started with matches.
yeah, and that's great. I enjoy when they do that. I mean, you can break it up every now and then and start with a promo.
Yeah. We got Asian Joe popping in saying good morning. Good morning. We haven't dived into Full Gear yet, Joe, so I'm glad you're here for that. We're talking about Dynamite last night as a whole.
Last week, Hangman Adam Page and Christian Cage versus the Bang Bang Gang.
That's right.
Started the show.
Yes.
And by the 8-minute mark of that show, so maybe about 4 minutes into the match, could hear a pin drop in that fucking arena.
Yeah.
And Hangman is in the ring, and Christian Cage is in the ring, and Jay White is in the ring.
Yep.
Like, these are legitimate wrestling stars. One a veteran.
Yep.
So what are we doing? What the hell is going on? Why is this like a now somewhat consistent thing with AEW crowds, where you've got now Will Ospreay, Ricochet, Hobbs, the Callis family of a bunch of stars.
Takeshita, Fletcher, like there's legitimate dudes in that match, like legit.
Why are you being quiet? It doesn't make sense.
Well,
and I have made comparisons in the past to AEW crowds sort of being akin to like Japanese crowds, because Japanese crowds are quiet.
Yeah, notoriously.
You do the like, ooh, and the clapping like once in a while. But I'm not used to seeing that on wrestling TV in America.
Yeah.
So it's just not working. It's like, you gotta be vocal. Like,
yeah.
Listen, we do WWE shows, so I can mention them now. Like you go to WWE shows and you watch Raw and SmackDown and even NXT. Those crowds are hot.
They're loud. They are very loud. They've been hot this year. The whole year at WWE, the crowd is always hot. I don't think they're using piped in noise as much as they were before. So I think a lot of that is legitimate, and those crowds are hot.
I've been to multiple shows of WWE's this year, and they have all been loud.
Yeah, the crowds are hot, and that was one of the staples of AEW. One of the staples of AEW, the first we're a handful of years in, but the first few years was you went to an AEW show and the crowd was rowdy, hot, pumped to be there. They were ready to be a part of the show. And I feel like we're running. And again, I don't know if it says more about the crowds or it says more about the product or I don't know, but it feels like we're running into scenarios where we're talking about how bad the crowd is like more times than we used to. Now, I don't think it's fair to have people probably spend the money they're spending to go to a Dynamite show and then put 7 fucking promos in a row for 25 minutes where there's no action happening in the show, and all they can do is sit on their fucking hands.
Because only one of those 7 promos
was in ring.
Ended up in the ring.
Yes,
and it didn't even start in the ring.
No, it was the Jericho one. So again, and this is later on in the show, like that 8-man tag started the show. You should be louder for that. I get that, but you're also not doing the crowd any favors either. When you're like, okay, here's a 25-minute segment in the show where nothing is going to happen out there for you guys. You're just going to sit there and watch just like everybody else at home. Like that's going to kill a crowd. So like that matters too. But at the end of the day, and again, you have to look where they were. Like if you think that Reading, Pennsylvania, no offense, I don't even know where the fuck that is. But if you think Reading, Pennsylvania is going to bring it like New York, like a Washington, D.C., like a big city, they're just not. They're just not. And it goes that way with WWE too. Like the crowds are hot in WWE, but like if you turn on Raw, and this is no offense to anybody that might live there, but if you turn on Raw and you go, oh, where are they tonight? Oh, they're in Lincoln, Nebraska. Okay, well, probably the crowd's not going to be that great because they're in Lincoln, Nebraska. You know what I mean? So it's just.
Well, they may as well have been in Amish country last night.
But that's, exactly. Right. Yeah. And Sinner's saying he can't wait for them to move to the smaller arenas. He says that should help with the crowd. I think it will. And then,
I said this to him yesterday. Like, I hope that it does.
It will.
When you're not even popping at the beginning of a show, that is a little concerning to me.
That's why I kind of said it, Joe, because I know you were in there. But no, it's not shots at Joe. But you know what I mean? I could have used anything. Baton Rouge, Louisiana. What do you want me to use? I'm just talking about towns that like are not. If a wrestling show is in Chicago or Boston or New York or LA, and I know these are big cities, but even if they're going to Philly, if they're going to shows like that, you know what kind of crowd you're getting. If a crowd is in, Little Rock, Arkansas, you know what? It's not going to be like that. It's just not. Like what you're getting, and like Reading, Pennsylvania doesn't exactly, like.
There's a bunch of interesting towns in America that you could go to. Like for example, why not North Carolina?
Yeah.
Why not? Is the name of the town?
That's an actual town. Yeah, why not?
Why not North Carolina?
Yeah.
What about Cut and Shoot, Texas? Might be a little unsafe there, but Cut and Shoot.
I mean, it's Texas. I mean, you're. But I don't know. It's just one of those.
You could go to Oklahoma.
Yeah, you can go anywhere you want. You can go anywhere you want. Well,
Climax, Michigan.
Sullivan is saying that you have to kind of pass through Amish country to get to Reading. So
you do. I know. I said that because when I went to Pittsburgh, I passed through there.
Yeah, and then I'll ask Scott because this is not the first show he said this. Be careful of who, because I'm not scared of anything or anyone. I'll say whatever the hell I want on my show. So what am I being careful about? Exactly.
Grove City, Alabama. That sounds.
I love you, Scott, but pipe down with the be careful crap. Because I'm not careful. So there it is. Sunday Sinner saying, I think AEW needs to stick to southern states and New York and Chicago. Boston, buddy. I hope you're throwing the Northeast.
No. Here's the problem.
They need another residency. Do they need another residency, though? Because I felt like that was cool for a week, and then everyone was like, this is bullshit. And nobody cared anymore.
Here's the thing.
The last month.
Here's the thing.
What a time.
The problem, I think the problem is like we're talking about the crowds and whatever. There's a multitude of things going on. One is the way they're booking the show. Like so the 7 fucking promos in a row. Mm-hmm. One of them only being in the ring. Yeah. That's a problem. 100%. I think a big problem as well is advertising, which we've talked about. Somebody on Fightful's post show last night super chatted that they didn't even know that the show was going to be at Dynamite today, and would have went
if
if
knew.
they knew in advance.
Yeah. This has been, and look, we've talked about it at length. We don't have to dive into that part of it, but that type, I never understood why they're so bad at it. Dynamite was in Manchester, New Hampshire 2 weeks ago. It was, 3 weeks ago at this point, whatever. One of the within the last month, they were in Manchester, New Hampshire. And if you lived in Manchester, New Hampshire, is a 35-minute ride from me. I'm technically in Massachusetts, but it's right across the border. And if you did not watch AEW programming, you would have never known that Dynamite was in Manchester, New Hampshire. The next night, 2 weeks ago, they taped Collision in Providence, Rhode Island, which is only an hour from me. Only an hour from me. You would have never known in the greater Boston area that Collision was being taped in Providence, Rhode Island. Not a far drive from Boston. Wrestling fans will make that drive. We do for Raws and SmackDowns. Not far. You would have never known that Dynamite was happening in Manchester, New Hampshire, or they were taping Collision the next night in Providence unless you watched AEW the week before. You would have never known because there's not one internet ad when I open my computer. There's not one radio ad that says it's coming. There's nothing. And Boston is a pretty diehard sports market in general and wrestling market. We would have, and the crowd was good in Manchester. It was one of the better crowds that Dynamite has had over the last month because the Northeast brings it. The Northeast brings it always. However, you would have never known that those shows were happening, and if you don't watch AEW. And that's a problem. Because if I'm a wrestling fan and I don't watch AEW every week, and I would have heard, oh shit, Dynamite's going to Manchester, New Hampshire, looked up tickets. Oh, $40. Maybe I'll go check that out on a Wednesday. Why not? Why not? But no, you're not appealing or reaching anybody else besides the people that watch your shows. And like, we love AEW. We do a show right now about AEW. But guess what? There's only 600, 700,000 people that watch a show every week. How are you growing that if you're only catering to those 600,000 people? That's not how you grow your product. And I think Johnny said it. Well, Johnny says that TK's only focus is the TV deal and pay-per-view. It might be. Same as merch as well. Their merch, those are the two things that me and Drew have been yelling about. Not yelling. Well, I yell sometimes. But those are the two things that me and Drew have been talking about.
I'm yelling more lately for some reason.
Sorry, I'm rubbing off on you. It's gonna be bad. Show's gonna be off the air before you know it. It's gonna be two miserable bastards on here. But we've been yelling about that the two things they need to get better at are advertising and merch. There is no excuse. And I get it. It's a different type of machine, and we've talked about it. But when WWE's coming to town for Raw, there are radio commercials a month in advance. A month in advance talking about Raw's coming. There are wrestlers calling in on every major radio station's main show and doing a 10 or 15-minute phone interview the week before or the day of. Like if it's a Raw that Monday, they have someone like The Miz or someone like someone popping into every radio station and doing an on-air interview for 10 minutes. Like that type of stuff is happening. AEW doesn't do anything.
The only reason why I know about Gabe Kidd right now is because Gabe Kidd went on some KTLA talk show earlier this year.
Yeah.
And sat down with a woman on that show and proceeded to flirt like crazy with her.
Yeah.
And be a complete douchebag and talk about the New Japan show that was in California at that time.
Mm-hmm.
Early, I think it was around like February, March or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the only reason why I knew about him. And that's because he was put out there to be his incredibly charismatic, evil douchebag character.
Yeah.
And that's, if I were there, that would have sold me a ticket.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and then we got everyone kind of
need to be doing stuff like that.
Yeah, we got people talking. Like Asian Joe says, they seem to finally be getting better with announcing the shows ahead of time with the recent ones. Sunday Sinner saying the collision I went to in Youngstown, Ohio. Yeah, Youngstown, Ohio. He goes, I didn't even know about it until the day of when I saw something on Twitter. And then he's saying, even on the show, it seems they only really advertise the big cities. I know when AEW is coming to Pittsburgh or Chicago. I never know when they're coming to Toledo or Youngstown. And then Joe says, when they came to my area for the first time, AEW had Jarrett do media the morning of the show. Not sure why they waited until last minute to promote, especially when it was their first time here. That's good to hear that they at least did that, but I don't think they do that all the time.
They definitely don't.
That day when they were in for Dynamite at Manchester, New Hampshire, Scott was there. I didn't end up going. It sounded like it was a pretty full show, but I doubt it sold out. But it was a good crowd. It sounded loud. Maybe it did sell out. I'm not sure. But like, if they would have had somebody on the radio shows that morning saying, hey, I'm in AEW Dynamite, there's tickets available tonight in Manchester, that would go a long way. Walk-up tickets are a thing. Like, that would have gone a long way. But regardless of that, we've talked about that.
So the last thing that I wanted to mention was the two things that I mentioned, and then the third thing is that they're in the same area. It's like one center said, like, oh, they should just focus on the major markets.
Yeah.
No, because the problem is that they focus too much in a specific area throughout a 2 to 3 month period.
Like they're already in Chicago again next week, right? Aren't they? They're Dynamite's in Chicago. Yeah, Thanksgiving, Chicago.
But since Grand Slam, they have been in the tri-state area
weekly
much.
Yeah.
For multiple shows.
Yeah.
They've been there. They did Grand Slam. Then they did the Lycor Center in Philly for Collision. They did Pittsburgh. They are doing Reading, Pennsylvania. They're doing New Jersey for the Prudential Center for Full Gear. I think they did
they did Manchester, New Hampshire. They did Providence, Rhode Island. That's the north. Like they're all in this. Like, I feel like they don't
drivable range.
I feel like they don't go to the West Coast nearly enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Like they do big LA shows occasionally. Eric, what is going on, my friend? Welcome in. They do big LA shows occasionally. They just had Wrestle Dream in Washington. Like, they go out there, but they go out there like it feels like once a year. Whereas they're in the Chicago, the Florida, or the Northeast like 70% of the year. And it's like, okay, well, like, I feel like you need to spread out your stuff. Yeah, Montreal, like Lawrence is in Montreal. Like, how are you not? And I know they go through runs. Yeah, they run Chicago 2 months. They were literally just like, they were in Chicago for All Out 2 months ago, dude. Why does Dynamite need to go to Chicago again? You just did All Out. They shouldn't be going to Chicago till next year. There are plenty of other cities you can go to, but it feels like they have this base that they just don't leave the base.
Yeah, it's really
80% of the time.
It's the Northeast. It's
into the
Midwest.
Upper Midwest, yes.
And then they go west and south.
And then they go Florida, south,
4 times a year.
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
Because I'm looking at AEW ticks right now. They're in Chicago next week.
Yeah.
Then they're in Indiana, the next state over.
Yeah.
Then they're in Columbus, Ohio, the next state over.
Yeah.
They're in Missouri. They're in DC. And guess where they are again? Right in the middle to late December, New York.
Yeah.
Because of the Hammerstein Ballroom show, which is cool.
That's really a cool thing. Yeah. Look at that type of stuff I'm not going to fight about. But like, it is one of those things where it doesn't feel they travel every week, but it doesn't feel like they travel enough. They go to the same areas all the time. And it's like, I get it. You're honing in on your diehards, right? You're honing in on your diehard fans. Those are the people that helped AEW start. That is where your bread and butter is these diehards. But you need to grow your company.
January 8th, they're in Clarksville, Tennessee.
All right, that's
January 22nd, they're in Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Why are you staying in the same state within a month?
Yeah. It's just, they just need to be, and again, this is behind the scenes stuff. This is not anything that's on our TV shows that we're critiquing here. I just feel like as a company, if you want to grow, advertising is where you're going to grow. Well, they're doing a big one. I mean, I feel like they are they doing a European tour next year?
Well, they're doing Grand Slam in Australia.
Yes,
Know
so that's
that.
big. They're traveling
Then
there.
they're doing
Well, they're doing Forbidden
I feel
Door
like
in
I
England. They're doing
remember-
Forbidden Door in
Yeah,
England because
Forbidden
All
Door's in
In's going to
England.
Texas. So All In's going to Texas. So they're doing Forbidden Door in England. They're doing the show in Australia. So, you know,
they'll definitely do
I think
a
it's
couple of shows in Europe.
I think it is absolutely bananas how they haven't done a tour of Japan yet. With their connections to New Japan Pro Wrestling and Forbidden Door and all these things, how have you not gone and done a tour of Japan if you're AEW? How have you not? Like, you are connected to Japan because of your relationship with New Japan. You have New Japan wrestlers all the time. You half your roster, your
Even
big
CMLL.
guys, yeah.
You know, they're having CMLL next week.
Exactly. How have you not actually, like, you send your wrestlers there and that's cool, but like you haven't done a week worth of shows in Mexico with your connection with CMLL? You haven't done a week's worth of shows in Japan with your connection with, like, you gotta spread your wings, man. You gotta spread your wings. But Sinner, I'll ask you this. Historically, has the country not been good to wrestling outside of WWE because nobody ever fucking goes there? Now I get it. It's a hike and a half to get there. All right. I get it. But like, is that because I know plenty of Australian friends, Josh Robinson being one of them, who's a diehard wrestling fan who, you know, they packed two stadiums of 80,000 people for WWE in a big event. I feel like if wrestling went there more often, we would find out that maybe that's not the case. But if you go there once every 7 years, you know, again, it is what it is. But I think you got to start with the advertising, dude. And like, I'm not in the advertising business at all, but it's pretty common sense to me that if you have a show in a town, you should be promoting on the radio, on television, interviews, news channels like Gabe Kidd. Show up and have Darby Allin do the weather. Who gives a shit? Who cares? Some kid waiting before school.
How Fletcher did it recently, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Like some kid before school who's waiting for his parents to drive him to school if the news is on the television and he sees Darby Allin show up on the news with the face paint and the skateboard and he goes, "What the hell's this? Who's this guy? This guy looks cool." You never know. Maybe then a couple nights he's going, "Hey, I saw that guy on the news today. Can I tune into that show, Mom, and watch that show tonight?" And then you never know. Maybe that kid's a fan for life. It's things like that. You gotta do things like that. But you know what we need to do, Drew? We need to talk about Full Gear because it's been an hour and we have not. But good conversation. Good conversation. Look, the reason why we're having these conversations is because we want AEW to succeed. And don't get me wrong, it just signed a big TV contract. It's not going anywhere. It is succeeding, but there are things they can still be doing to make the product even better than it is. That's just the way it is. All right, Drew, we have as of right now, we have a 9-match card, 8 of them on the main match. I assume they'll throw in on tomorrow on Rampage. They'll at least create a couple more pre-show matches. I feel like there's usually 2 to 3 of those. Right now, we only have 1, but that match is Big Boom AJ with Big Justice and the Riz against QT Marshall. Some people will enjoy that. Some people won't. It's fine. Either way, I don't really care about this match at all, but I assume the Big Boom AJ guy's winning. I assume he's winning that, so we're just going to call that for what it is. Great. All right. Let's start. You know what? Let's start with the only non-one-on-one match on the show so far. It is for the AEW World Tag Team heel turn for the Riz. Yeah. Again, I'm not saying this to be an asshole or a dick or anything like that. I literally don't know who these people are. I have no idea. People people are like, yeah. I'm like, no clue. It's a 4-way for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. It is Private Party in their first defense going up against the Outrunners, who defeated Top Flight to get into this match, going up against Kings of the Black Throne, Malachi Black and Brody King, who defeated FTR to get into this match, and going up against the Acclaimed, who defeated La Facción Inhonoble to become the 4th team in this match. This is Private Party's first defense, Drew. I feel like they're going to win it because it is their first defense. However, I really would like to see Kings of the Black Throne. I want to dive into an Acclaim discussion out of this because I do think this is a place right here where we actually could see a heel turn. Maybe not like them breaking up, but I could see the team as a unit turning heel. But I think this is going to lead to, it has to. We say this every time, but I feel like this has to lead to something. Finally, with these two guys, whether it's a heel turn as a unit or they split, something needs to go down. However, before we dive into that, do you think Private Party is going to successfully retain on their first attempt here?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I do as well. And I do think with Sinner, I think the Acclaimed are in this match to take the pin. Because I don't think you're going to pin either of the Kings of the Black Throne. And I think the Outrunners are... This is a match to me where the Outrunners are going to be the stars of this match. This match is going to be built around elevating the Outrunners even more than they have been elevated by how over they are. That's what this match will be. There will be there will be a moment or two where that whole crowd and most of us watching at home are going to be yelling, put him on the out, do it. Like we always do, like we did with Private Party. Do it. Put it on the Outrunners. The crowd's going to be losing it. They're not going to win because they shouldn't. But this is a showcase match for the Outrunners for me. Even though Private Party is going to win and retain, this is the match where the Outrunners are they're gonna level up in this match, and they're gonna become. Oh, Eric's throwing something. Okay,
I've been thinking about that actually. I think that's coming.
Well, Scott's saying it too. So Eric and Scott are on the same page. He says, "When will FTR turn on the Outrunners?" And then Scott says FTR is going to cost the Outrun. I don't think FTR gets involved in this match, but I do think they will. Like, I could see this match happens. The Outrunners do a valiant effort. Private Party retains. Next week on Collision, the Outrunners and FTR do some sort of promo or backstage thing where FTR is like trying to like the Outrunners are bummed that they lost or whatever. And that's when the turn will happen. Like FTR and then the Outrunners' first big feud will be against bad guys FTR. And I think FTR will put them over. I really do. I think the FTR will put them over. But I look at this match and I'm like, this will be fun. It's a multi-team match. Those are always, chaos and exciting. And yes, it is pretty lined up.
So, I'm sorry. I chuckled that Sunday Sinner had to correct himself from saying Sunday and actually Saturday. Yeah. It's in your name, pal.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
You're always going to say Sunday, regardless of what day of the week it is.
Yeah. I just don't want Kings of the Black Throne to lose. I just don't. But
it's going to happen.
Yeah, it's going to happen. But it should be good. But Private Party.
Now, what's in regards to the Acclaimed thing?
Something's got to give, Drew. Something's got to give.
I was saying it at Blood and Guts.
Yeah.
That he should Ed Max should turn and join with the Elite.
Yeah.
It is as much as I don't have it on display, but I do have the that 3-set Acclaimed thing that I just bought a couple months ago.
Yeah.
Including Billy. It's I think it's gotten to a point. And by the way, I do want to I'm glad I remembered this because I did want to do a special shout out to Anthony Bowens, who on Blue Sky reposted or whatever they call it on there, me, because I did mention that I had to immediately follow him when he said that he had an account on there because of my personal interaction that I had with him a few years ago when he had first come out. and he reposted it and said that it put a big smile on his face and said thank you and did the scissor emoji.
Very nice.
So that was very, very touching and made my year 100%.
100%.
He's. I don't want to say that Max Caster isn't star potential.
Mhm.
I think he's got to work on some things when it comes to not being a piece of shit in real life.
Yep.
And like doing, apparently he had. So full disclosure, I did not watch Collision. But
You didn't watch Collision?
I didn't watch Collision really because
You didn't miss
I
much.
knew we weren't really going to talk about it.
It was fine, but you didn't. Collision's a fine show, but it's not.
I didn't have to cover it this week for Fightful, so I was like, "Yeah, deuces. I need a break." So I didn't watch it.
That's fair.
But I did hear that Max had rapped about topics that needed to not be put on television.
It's par for the course these days, is it not? That's kind of what he does now. So,
Sinner, I think it maybe was a good thing that it was pre-taped this week. But it's like I need to know like why he thinks that it's okay to just do stuff like that still, when he's been reprimanded apparently for doing stuff like this for years now. But still, years later, he's saying things, and I don't really exactly know what it was, but I know that it was something that was bad enough that it had to be cut out.
Yeah.
Like you got to actually reprimand him for stuff like this, because he shouldn't feel like he has free reign to just go out there and continue to do it.
Yeah, we always spend way too much time on the Acclaimed.
I know.
It's one thing I've noticed. I don't know why we talk about these. I love Anthony Bowens, and Caster's fine to me. They're a fine act. I don't dislike them at all. But I feel like every time we talk about the Acclaimed, we talk about them with like they do not matter that much with the amount of airtime we give them. It is shocking to me how much we end up talking about them so much. And it's like just.
And I mean, we should be. I wish we were talking about them always in a positive way.
Yes. Just break them up. Just enough. Either turn them heel as a group. I don't mind if they turned heel. I wouldn't mind seeing Anthony Bowens kind of as a, bonker. To me, Anthony Bowens is a single star in waiting. Whenever they want to do that, that guy's a single star. That guy is legit. I'm not saying Caster can't be that either. I'm really not. But he just needs to.
I don't hate Caster.
I don't either.
I like him a lot.
Yeah, like I don't mind him at
potential.
all. Yes, I agree.
But you got to tone down some of the stuff, though. Like, it's just we're not in the climate right now.
Yeah, and I get it. He's doing it to get a right. It is what it is. But I think that they take the pin here. I think Private Party beats them. They take the pin. And I don't know if it happens on Saturday. Sunday Center on Saturday. I don't know if it happens on Saturday. But something needs to give, whether it's a heel turn or a breakup. Like, they can't just be riding the wave like they're doing now. Like, they need to do something different with those guys because it's clearly they're past whatever they're doing. So we got to figure it out.
They could start the heel turn. Dissension
after the match, just have one of them get pissed and walk to the back. That's it. One of them get pissed, fucking say something or shoulder bump like whatever, dude. Whatever. I think Bowens and MVP's group would actually be fun.
Ooh,
that'd be fun. That'd be all right. I know a lot of people. Some people have said Max Caster may be joining MJF at some point because they were together on the Indies at one point.
Personally, I do think probably the best thing for Max Caster is to join MVP's group because MVP will knock some sense into that game.
I mean, all those guys will. Shelton, Bobby Lashley, and MVP as a unit will be like, cut the shit, dude. Cut the shit. Like, they'll be like, cut it out. But I think Bowens in that group could work. All right, let's continue along. Man, the rest of the matches are all one-on-one. You know what's one thing I don't like? There's 9 matches right now, only one women's match. Come on. Come on. Come on. We need better than that. All right, before we go into the next match, we did have something announced on Dynamite last night. So earlier in the day yesterday, Drew, there was a report, there was an interview that happened with the former AEW Women's Champion, Toni Storm. She was in character. She was in character, but she was asked, and she said, you know what? I've lost everything here in Mexico. I've lost everything in Japan. I lost my AEW Women's Championship. She goes, I'm retiring from pro wrestling. I don't need to wrestle anymore. AEW doesn't need me anymore. Enjoy Mariah May as your champion. I'm out. And then Fightful picked it up. All the places picked it up that she had announced that she is leaving pro wrestling. Okay, so that happens earlier in the day. Then miraculously, last night on Dynamite, Drew, we find out that on Saturday, Mariah May will not be defending the AEW Women's Championship. Her and Mina Shirakawa are going to be having an in-ring celebratory toast. Finally, that Mina is back for Mariah May and her championship. Now, I ask you, coincidentally, do we think that that maybe was done on purpose with the report earlier in the day, and we might see Toni Storm finally return on Saturday and ruin this celebration? Because I do.
Probably that's what's going to happen. Yeah.
I didn't think that, it was a coincidence, but I didn't think it was too much of a coincidence that report came out about Toni Storm retiring. And then we find out that they're going to do an in-ring thing at the pay-per-view. That tells me we're seeing Toni Storm on Saturday. That's what that told me.
It is probable. I kind of felt like maybe she would be gone for a little while longer.
I mean, she's been gone for.
She's been gone
since All In. That was in August.
Oh, has it been that long already?
Right, All In's in August. Right, yeah, beginning of August.
Yeah. Okay, I didn't.
We're talking. We're in the middle to. By the time this happens, the end of November. It's been like, we're approaching almost 4 months. She's not been there.
Well, I mean, yeah, probably that's what's going to end up happening.
Well,
I thought maybe it'd be like interesting if a new signed person.
That wouldn't be bad if it was like a new. I don't know if they who do they have that's new and signed. Do we know?
I don't know. Maybe like a surprise. Could be a surprise debut.
I mean, I do think someone is going to interrupt that show, that celebration. I do think it'll be Toni Storm. My question is though, are we for certain that Shirakawa is going to stay with Mariah? Because I can see
if she's turning on her, then there's no Toni Storm necessary. It's just going to be.
But are you sure though? Because the last time we saw them, all 3 of them were friendly. Mina Shirakawa did not enjoy Mariah May turning on Toni Storm. When Toni Storm was in,
she hasn't mentioned that since she's been back.
When Toni Storm was in Japan, her and Mina Shirakawa were very friendly on screen with each other. They were buddy. And Mina Shirakawa's return vignettes to AEW, half the time they were in black and white. I don't know if anybody picked up on that, but half the time they were in color, and the other half of the time they were in black and white.
I did not notice that.
Yeah, that's a thing. You can go back and watch them. What if Toni Storm shows up and Mariah May is like, okay, here we go, and then Mina Shirakawa aligns with Toni? What if that happens?
Well, that's
or maybe Toni Storm sends a video thing and it's Shirakawa who ends up turning on her. Because it could just be that. It could be like they have this celebration and Shirakawa turns on Mariah May, and then that's the moment. And we build to a Mariah May Shirakawa feud, which I would be more than okay with. But I think the Toni Storm, I think they've done some creative things, especially on the vignettes with Shirakawa. The black and white stuff.
I really didn't pick up on that. That's very interesting.
And they were very friendly in Japan, Shirakawa and Toni Storm, when she was over there. They were like on screen, buddy. I could see something like that.
I want to just Mariah May's title reign has just not been great, which is unfortunate. Like she's had some good matches.
I feel like she hasn't
I
wrestled.
like
enough.
the little Anna Jay thing.
Yeah, that was good. I feel like she hasn't wrestled enough. Like she should be wrestling and defending that belt way more than she does. And I feel like this feud has been her title reign to me has been waiting for that first signature feud because she hasn't had the Anna Jay stuff was good. The Anna Jay stuff was good, but that wasn't a signature feud to me. And Mariah May, we're waiting for that first. What's your first signature feud as champion? And it should probably be Toni Storm, but she's just been gone for so long now that I feel like we've just been waiting for Toni Storm to come back to really be like, okay, here we go. Now it's Mariah, like she's had good matches. She's had good defenses. I did like the Anna Jay stuff, but I feel like she hasn't had that first, like, oh, this is a good signature feud for her to retain and really signify her as champion. That just hasn't happened yet to me, which is she's had the belt again for approaching 4 months now.
Yeah. It's really been kind of, because I don't think anybody was really expecting Toni Storm to just be gone after she lost the title.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know was there a particular reason? I don't remember.
No, I think they were just selling it. I think.
And she did have a lengthy title run.
Oh my God!
Like,
yeah.
It was a couple months.
Yeah.
I think she was the champion for over a year.
Oh yeah, she was the champion for a long time. Yeah.
So, yeah, but it's just not been that interesting to me, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And not having a match for that title at one of their bigger shows of the year.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So we'll see, but hopefully something happens during this that kind of sparks something, because Mariah May is excellent, and she should be wrestling more on our screens. All right, we have a 1-on-1 match. It is MJF. It is Roderick Strong. Now, this obviously went in a different scenario than I think we were all thinking. This looked like it was on course to be Adam Cole versus MJF. And then MJF was like, nope, it's between you and Roderick, whoever wins 3 matches first. And then there was the flirtation of a triple threat, which a lot of us thought, oh, they mentioned a triple threat. We're 100% getting a triple threat. And then they kind of went the other way, where Adam Cole ended up not getting the 3 wins, but his buddy Roderick Strong did. So we have the 1-on-1 with MJF and Roderick Strong. That promo last night that MJF cut was very, very dark. Very, very dastardly, talking about Roderick Strong's upbringing and his parents, which is a very real, known thing about his mom and her addiction and the parents and her shooting his dad. And the last line with MJF saying, you're going to wish that your mom didn't shoot your dad, but shot you instead. I mean, what a line.
Yeah.
What a line by MJF. Holy moly.
Really.
Holy moly. And then I thought Roderick Strong cut a good promo last night, too, in front of the crowd. I thought that was really good. Look, this match is going to be great. We know how good Roderick Strong is in the ring. We know how good MJF is in the ring. This match is going to be good. I think there is going to be some nonsense with this match, though, because Adam Cole, I'm almost assuming, will get involved, or he'll come down and stuff like that. But I think MJF wins, because at Worlds, so we've talked about it a little bit here, Drew. I think MJF wins this match. And then as we're approaching World's End, a year later from everything, we're going to get MJF versus Adam Cole. And I think at World's End, we are going to get a role reversal of what happened last year. And I think Adam Cole is going to be staring up at MJF sitting in the chair with Roderick and the Kingdom behind him, saying, hey, buddy, remember last year when I was sitting there? Now look. And I think everybody's going to turn on Adam Cole. MJF's going to be the guy sitting in the chair, not with the devil mask, but you know what I mean. It's going to be a complete reversal at World's End. But I think we start that journey.
Maybe he does have the devil mask.
Maybe.
Just to, add to that.
Yeah.
Make it a literal mirror thing.
Yeah. But I think that's where we're heading at World's End. I think it's going to be a complete reversal, but I think it starts with MJF getting the win against Roderick Strong. I don't know if Adam Cole will come out and maybe accidentally cost Roderick Strong this match, which leads to it. But Roderick and gang are completely turning on Adam Cole at some point. completely. That is happening.
I don't really care about this match because I was more interested in seeing Adam Cole be involved instead of.
I mean, he's going to be involved in this, right? He will.
But I mean, like, in
like
an
actual
itself.
match. Yeah.
I don't hate Roderick Strong at all. He's a very good wrestler, and but he's like that. He's part of that like old Ring of Honor era type of a wrestler of that. Like they were really, really popular before I got into wrestling and really knew anything about Ring of Honor and stuff. So I don't have that affinity for Roddy and other people that wrestling fans do because I don't have any connection with the original, Kingdom and things that Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish did. And, like I just know these people from NXT. Black and Gold. And I'm like, hey, I liked them then. I like them now, but I'm not like seeking out Roderick Strong matches to, give a star rating to, or, and I'm just not that type of wrestling fan.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, this will be a fine match, but it's not something I'm necessarily looking forward to. The way that they told the story was great last night, so I didn't hate that at all. But I'm just waiting for exactly what you said, for the Adam Cole match and for the Kingdom to turn on Adam Cole, and because that's what's happening.
Oh yeah.
If it doesn't, I'll be shocked.
Yeah, I agree. I do think this match will be good, though. This match will be good. I mean, it's going to be a great in-ring battle.
I did want to ask you, what do we think about Wardlow? Do we think he ever comes back? Is he maybe involved? Maybe because of his hatred for MJF, he can't side with MJF, so he actually aligns with Adam Cole? Does he just never show up again?
I don't know, because Adam Cole was starting to treat him like shit. You know what I mean? Like Adam Cole.
When he was a bad guy.
Yeah, when they were all still aligned before they decided they were scrapping this because Cole was out for so long, Adam Cole was like giving him dirty looks and was like taking one-line digs at him and things like that. So it feels like to me, even though he hates MJF, I think so much time has passed, it would make sense for me for to align him back with MJF, to be honest with you.
Okay. I could see that happening.
Like Wardlow can be like, hey, listen, I don't like to admit this, but I was at a certain level when I was with MJF. Yeah, okay. Well, Johnny's saying that SRS said yesterday that Wardlow has a bad injury. So maybe he won't be back, but which I don't think this is a bad thing, Sinner. I don't think it's a bad thing.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think that either.
But like I said, I think they're running a full role reversal. A full role reversal of what happened a year ago, which I think is the right thing to do. But we'll see. If Wardlow is out, though, that's, obviously with an injury. But if Wardlow were to be coming back, I would have him join back up with MJF, to be honest. At least at first. All right. We have another singles match. It is a rematch. The opening bout these guys had at Wrestle Dream was one of the best matches of the year, in my opinion. They are continuing along. It is Switchblade Jay White going one-on-one once again with my man, Hangman Adam Page. This should be a good one.
Said, my man, and then said Hangman.
Well, I don't know why everybody always questions. Like Spencer last night goes, how do you pronounce fireman? And I said, I pronounce it like fireman. He's a fireman. Hangman, fireman. It's the same fucking thing.
But then you say man.
Well, yeah, because he is my main man. You can't say mun for man when it's alone. It's man. But that's one. Yeah, that's two different words. That's two different. If the word is just man, it's man. If it's connected to something else, it's fireman, policeman, hangman. That's how you say it. Everyone getting on my fucking case. I'm sorry that I speak proper English. I know it's hard. I know it's hard.
I
This is a
say
hard
men
rank.
too. I don't say well, I mean, I feel like I probably
Okay.
do say hangman.
Now,
but-
right there. How would you pronounce that word? Would you say Bostonians or would you say Bostonians?
I would say
ANS.
Bostonian.
Okay. Muns, hangman, fireman, Bostonians. You wouldn't say, oh, that's Bostonians. Stop it.
He's from Ohio. What the fuck does he know?
Stop it.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, they don't know how to vote. But anyway, sorry. My bad. Jay White, Adam Page. Does Hangman get the win back? And we can I think this goes further. I think this goes one more. I think this is going to World's End. So I think Hangman gets the win. Wow, Johnny's thinking it. You think Jay White continues again? Gets another win over him? He'll be 5-1.
would make him real fucking pissed off. So
Well,
maybe
here's what I think, though. And I think Pluggo said this last night. It was a good call by Pluggo. We were kind of all in agreement that Hangman gets the win back here and that this continues. But I do think Jay White wins the feud. So, like, I think Hangman wins this match on Saturday. He gets the win back. He can say, I finally beat him. And then Jay White goes, we'll do one more. And it goes to World's End. And they have their last of their trilogy. And I think Jay White goes over. Because I do think, like Pluggo said last night, I do think they are positioning Jay White to be towards the main event. Like this is the Jay White, or they're putting Jay White to the level that everybody expected Jay White to be at when he immediately showed up because of how he was in New Japan and stuff like that. But I feel like Hangman gets the win back this time, and then they continue this at least for one more match, I think.
it's possible. I don't care as much. I'm gonna say the exact same thing that I just said about MJF and Roderick Strong. Jay White, from an era of wrestling and another company that I was not watching or knew of when I became a wrestling fan. So I do now go out and seek Jay White matches. He is a great talker. I really enjoy his promos. I enjoy him as a wrestler currently. But after the insane shit that Hangman and Swerve did, this just feels like, okay, it's a match. And it's not really like a feud that I necessarily care about as much. I enjoyed very much their first match together again at the last show.
Oh yeah, it was great. One of the best matches
at
on the show.
Wrestle Dream,
Wrestle Dream.
right?
Yeah. Open the show.
That was a great match. I thought Hangman was going to win there, and he didn't win. See, I said Hangman. I say Hangman. I say men for some things, and I say man for other things.
Well, it's fair.
And I was like, okay. I mean, it's gonna be a good match, but I can easily just get up and walk to my kitchen or go to the bathroom during it, and I'm not gonna feel like I'm really missing anything.
Okay. I mean, I think you're going to be missing a match of the night type scenario if you're missing that.
I
But-
don't think it's gonna be a match of the night.
Did you not watch the Wrestle Dream match? It was the best
It
match
was
on
good.
that show.
It was
the best match
very
on that
good match.
show.
But
By
I think
far and away. Far and away the
that
best match on
the
that show.
finish made it a bigger match than what it was,
I don't know about that.
because not
I
a
don't know
lot of
about
people
that.
were expecting it.
Well, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I think people were expecting Heyman to win, but I thought that match was the best match on that show. And I expect this to be right up there. I mean, these guys are going to go out and this match is going to be better.
That's the pay-per-view that had Will Ospreay and Ricochet and Takeshita on it.
That was a great match. That was a very good match.
That was the match of the show.
It
for
probably
me.
was, but I think Hangman and Jay White was match of the year type candidate. Match was insanely good to open that show. I think this match is going to be better than that match. But we'll see.
By the way, a quick tangent side note, which we do very often here now. How stupid is it? and I'm not saying anything negatively about QT Marshall here. How stupid is it that a very popular TikToker, his whole deal is talking about bringing the boom when there's literally a wrestler on the show that goes boom and they're doing nothing together?
Yeah. Well, they took a picture
Is that not
backstage
insane?
last night. They took a picture backstage last night of it. So, yeah, I
That
felt
means
like
nothing.
I felt like there would be maybe they'll do it at the pay-per-view, but I felt like there would at least be a crossover segment where they're just doing booms. I know that's the thing. They're saying boom, but like, wouldn't Adam Cole, he literally does boom.
Yeah,
Like,
it's in
wouldn't
his
there
theme
be-
song.
Yeah, wouldn't
The
there be a
entire crowd
segment
does it.
of them all doing booms together? I don't know. Doesn't make sense. Feels like a missed opportunity. Not for me, because I don't give a shit, but it feels like a missed opportunity for the people that are actually excited about this guy.
Oh, there we go. It's another guy who does boom.
Yeah, boom,
Colt
boom, boom.
Cabana.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
So you got 3 people in the company, not one, not technically in the company. 3 people who have boom gimmicks.
Yep.
And none of them are interacting with each other.
No. All right. We have another singles. The Venga Boys. That's true. Venga Boys. We have another singles match. We talked about it a smidge. It is the AEW pay-per-view debut of Bobby Lashley. And he is going 1-on-1 with Swerve Strickland. We saw Swerve get the 1-up on MVP Bobby in the crew last night throughout Dynamite. Yeah, I mean, this match again should be another really, really good match, but I am finding it hard to not pick Bobby Lashley. I am finding it hard to not think
Bobby Lashley.
The numbers game is in his corner. He will have MVP out there. He will have Shelton Benjamin out there. It's going to be 3-on-1 or 3-on-2 with, if you count Prince Nana. This match should be really good, but and I know it's Swerve, but Bobby Lashley's winning his AEW pay-per-view debut. He just is. He is. And it'll probably be because of some sort of, not a DQ, but some sort of interference, or MVP or Shelton will get involved. But yeah, Bobby Lashley's going to get the win here. But I expect this to be very good. Are you feeling the same way, Drew? Do you think that Swerve can get an upset victory here? I was going to ask that. Like, do we think Swerve doesn't have backup here? It's 3-on-1. I know he has Nana, but it's really 3-on-1. It's really 3-on-1. Do we, and I think we're aligned that we think Bobby Lashley is going to win this match, but do we see after the match, during the match, does Swerve get a friend? Does somebody come out and help Swerve at all? Or is he just going to lose because of the numbers game and we get something down the line maybe? Because I feel like at some point, Swerve is going to need a friend. I hope to God it's Keith Lee, but I don't know where he's at health-wise. I would love it to be Keith Lee, but I don't know if that's a realistic choice. But it feels to me that Swerve's going to need a friend here at some point, and a friend other than Prince Nana. So I don't know when we get that or whatnot, but, I feel like something's got to give here at some point.
I don't know. Maybe if Keith Lee were healthy and able to back him up, that would be incredible. That'd be awesome.
Great. Yeah.
Haven't heard anything about Keith Lee in months. So I have no idea what's going on.
How amazing would it be if it was Keith Lee and everybody thought he was coming out to back up Swerve and he turned and went with the VP and the crew? Oh, what a time. What a time that would be.
Interesting. That would be interesting.
I live for shit like that. Like if everyone's like, oh, and then it's just like, oh.
It could be though. So hold on though. So in a similar vein to what Sinner's saying there.
Yeah, it's true. It's been a while. He did
that
put something
could
on
be
Twitter.
the turn.
Yeah. What, Keith Lee?
No. Maybe it could either be the Acclaimed come out to help him. Maybe Leo Rush comes out to help him.
Leo Rush to me gives me strong. I mean, him and Lashley, that connection. I feel like Leo Rush is perfect to join him.
No, but he comes out to save Swerve.
Oh, and then
but then
turns.
turns on Swerve.
Yeah, I think Leo
Somebody
Rush
could
is,
do that.
Yeah, I feel like Leo Rush is a strong candidate. They had that match last week on Dynamite, and then all the stuff went down afterwards. And Leo Rush was still out there the whole time.
Right.
The camera showed him a few times, made sure that we all saw that he was still out there watching what was going on. He cut the promo earlier in the night, referencing his history with Lashley. I need to hear him say Lashley. I need to hear it one more time. I need to hear it. I think Leo Rush is perfect to join MVP and crew. Perfect. That would work for me because you got MVP who's like he's the voice of the group, and then you got these two big dudes, Bobby Lashley and Benjamin, and then if you have that little shithead, you get the little shithead of the group like Leo Rush, the cocky, loud, flamboyant, like just he would fit perfectly in that group, perfectly. Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna get the ass slapping. But we got to hear Lashley. Yeah, we got to hear that one more time. We got to hear it at least one more time. But I expect this to be good. But this is a Bobby Lashley victory all day. I will be shocked if Bobby Lashley doesn't win this match. I would be shocked. All right. And then we have our last singles match that doesn't involve a championship. And this match should be a doozy. It is Will Ospreay going one-on-one with his former friend, his former brother, Kyle Fletcher. Drew, this has Mark Davis turning on Will Ospreay written all over it for me. Written all over it.
Yeah.
Mark Davis turning on Will, joining with Kyle and the Callis gang. It has it written all over it for me. Because I don't think Ospreay wins this match. I think Fletcher getting a huge win against Will Ospreay on this pay-per-view is gigantic for Kyle Fletcher.
My same thought.
A gigantic moment for Kyle Fletcher. And I think it happens because Mark Davis turns and aligns with Callis. We had that 8-man tag last night. He accidentally hit the elbow, the blade move on Mark Davis. Mark Davis has still not really got physical with Fletcher a little bit, but 100% Mark Davis.
Yeah, they've shoved each other.
Yes.
That's pretty much it.
Yes.
They had a little back and forth in the match, though.
Yeah, they've had a little back and forth, but like they still haven't. Mark Davis
hasn't been like that blood feud type of.
No.
So it's not going to happen.
Nope.
Because
Mark Davis is
turning.
Yep, 100%. Fletcher's getting the win here. But this match is going to be insane. This match is going to be insanely good with these two. They are going to go out there with a purpose, both of them. And I expect this to be the match of the night. I really do. It's going to be real good. Real good.
Yeah.
But Fletcher, this is he's already risen up to like kind of like super, like we've talked about Kyle Fletcher at length here over the last 3-4 months of just how much of an opportunity he was given because of the Davis injury. And yeah, man. I think this is a star-making performance for Kyle Fletcher, like a legitimate
it will be
star-making performance for him on Saturday. It should be incredible. Sunday Sinner is
he's had such a an incredible year, really. Even in late 2023 into 2024 of just, I mean, he just before he cut his hair, he already like incredibly changed his look.
Agreed.
He gets so much more muscular and physically fit. And then cutting off the hair just was like, he looks like a totally different person.
Yeah, I agree.
And his wrestling is better. His promoing, the way he's telling the stories, everything is hitting right now. And I agree. With Sinner and Johnny, he should not be back in the tag division, even if Davis turns.
I agree. I don't think it's necessarily Here's the thing, right? I agree with that sentiment that I think Kyle Fletcher has established himself as a singles star for this company for a long time. No questions asked. But if you already have your stories in place for your singles titles, does it hurt for him and Davis to make a run at the tag team championships for a few months? Like, does it hurt? I don't know if that hurts
Well,
at all.
no. Okay, so I won't
You
say
know what I mean?
never put him in a tag team again.
Yeah. Like, you have your world title with Mox. I'm sure that they have the next 3 or 4 months written out there. Takeshita's in his group with the TNT, the Continental. Wait, no, what does he have? Continental? No. What does he have? Takeshita. International.
International. Yeah.
So he has the international belt. You're not going to have them feud with each other. We're going to talk about the TNT title soon, which I think that would be a good spot for Fletcher. 100%. But at the same time, like, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing if Davis turns like we all think he's gonna, that him and Fletcher have a quick couple month run as a tag team and they're going after the tag belts, maybe even winning them. I don't think that's a bad thing for Fletcher because we know he's not going to be there forever. He's proven that he's not going to be there forever. I also think that I could buy into a Lance Archer, Brian Cage, Mark Davis trios. I could buy into that. If they wanted to Mark Davis to kind of join the team and be a trios with those two and let Fletcher still do, I do think they do the Aussie Open tag run for a little bit. But I think if you really want to keep Kyle Fletcher as a singles guy, I could 100% see Davis joining those other, he looks the part with them. Big, brooding guys. Davis is a big fella. Like, he's got some meat to him.
I have a question, and
I think that could work.
I'm a little embarrassed to ask this question.
Yes.
Who are the trios champs right now?
No, Death Riders.
Oh, the Death
Wheeler
Riders.
Yuta, Claudio, and
wow.
Yeah.
Totally forgot. I totally forgot.
Yeah. Well, they don't bring those belts out ever. They only have the world championship. They don't friggin' wear them.
They don't even bring that belt either.
No. Well, it's in the briefcase. It's in the briefcase. But
I wonder if they changed the look of it or something, that they haven't shown it.
Yeah.
But,
although, and look, this could happen too. Could Davis turn on Ospreay, but not like, could he just turn on Ospreay and say it's because, and just not? I feel like if that happens though, Davis disappears. Like, Davis, nobody matters. Like, if he joins the Callis family, that at least gives him that at least gives a reason for people to care. Right. If Mark Davis just turns but doesn't align with Kyle, and he's just like this guy on his own, I don't know if the crowd or AEW will do what they need to do to make people care about Mark Davis if he's on his own. So that would be why I would have him join and actually do the team with Fletcher for a little bit. Private Party will still be the champs. That's a good heel team to go against Private Party. I feel like there's a thing they could do there. And again, I don't think that's necessarily I don't see Kyle Fletcher getting singles gold within the next 4 to 6 months. Maybe TNT. But like, I don't really see it right now because I think the titles
Fletcher and Daniel Garcia would slap.
100%. If you want to talk me in about Revolution, like when we're getting there, that happens, 1,000% in. But I think for the next few months, I don't think Kyle Fletcher is going to be involved with singles titles. So if Davis does turn, I'm more pro them doing a tag team run for a few months and being AEW tag champions as heels. And I think they could do that for the winter. And then they lose it and you can kind of move on from there. And then Fletcher is like, yeah, remember me? I'm the singles guy that beat fucking Will Ospreay. Remember me? Yeah. And then I just became AEW tag champs. So here we go.
So like I said, Fletcher and Daniel Garcia, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
And if we do a tag team thing too, them and Private Party.
Very good.
Because I feel like what happens, I'm trying to think of what happens with the tag titles after this pay-per-view, because Johnny, that was actually me that called for that, but you know, fine. Sinner's not stealing my shine there. I feel like maybe, well, we think the Acclaimed are done, so they won't be in the tag picture.
Yeah, but we've been thinking the Acclaim is going to be done for 4 months, Drew, and they're still not. So that could they could not be done easily.
So they could potentially be done. So they probably won't be talking about the tag titles. And then,
I mean, there's Private Party, if they win this match, If Acclaim turns heel, that's a feud for them. You could continue the Kings of the Black Throne in them if you want.
The
I think
Outrunners will be involved with FTR.
Yes, I think that's the route they're going. I think we all agree there that they're going to go that route with them. The Bucks are still not there. We don't know when the Bucks are coming back at any point. Again, I think Aussie Open kind of reforming just for a minute, just for a few months. I think that puts a jolt into the tag team division big time. They're one of the best tag teams of the last decade, man.
Eventually, the Young Bucks are going to come back.
Exactly. And you get the Young Bucks versus Aussie Open. I think the Young Bucks, when they come back, are going to be baby faces. I do. So it's like, it's one of those things where, like, I know we're seeing what we're seeing out of Kyle Fletcher this last year, and we see it. This guy is a singles guy. He's a single star, but he's 25 years old. He has plenty of time. You give him this signature win over someone like Will Ospreay because his old partner turns, and then they do an
Will Ospreay.
You know,
Will Ospreay is the perfect person for that too.
100%.
Remember, he had that match with Swerve earlier this year.
Yes,
and he put Swerve over.
Yes,
he's put Swerve over.
Will Ospreay. I guarantee you, Will Ospreay
yeah.
probably told Tony, like, I have no problem putting Kyle. Like, they've been friends forever, dude. They've been friends forever. You know. So it's like, you don't think Will Ospreay would be happy to put Kyle Fletcher over? 100% he would be. You know what I mean? Grizzled Young Vets, that's a good one. I hope they get incorporated into the tag division more. My only thing right here with Center with Wheeler and Claudio is they're the Trios Championships.
Yeah, I don't see that.
They're
Actually, I think
champs.
since I was now reminded that they're the Trios champion, I think Kenny and the Bucks go after them for the Trios Championships.
Maybe. I was under the impression that I didn't know the Bucks were going to be taken off and losing a Private Party. I wanted Omega and Ibushi to be the ones that came back and took the tag titles from the Bucks. That's what I wanted. But Private Party made sense. I'm glad they did that with Private Party. But like when the Bucks were still the champs, I was like, oh, Omega and Ibushi should be the team.
Ooh, I just had an idea.
That came back and took it.
I just had an idea. So I think maybe what ends up happening is Kenny and the Bucks come back to take the Trios title.
Yep.
And then this, I do firmly believe, that Daniel Garcia is winning the TNT title. I do believe
that's
that.
the match we're going to talk about next. So we'll head on over there.
If he doesn't, that's going to be a problem with me, honestly.
Yeah, I think
that
that's
I hate
the one
the title with Jack Perry, but
Jack Perry's excellent. Jack Perry's doing the best work of his career.
Currently. But he can do other things and not need the TNT title. That leaves the last person of the new elite, Okada. Maybe Kota Ibushi takes that title from him.
Maybe. I think Kenny Omega is coming back at some point. We already know he's coming back in New Japan. He's going to fight Gabe Kidd. We already know that's happening. So he's close to cleared, if not cleared. He's going to be wrestling in New Japan against Gabe Kidd. Kenny Omega's coming back. And the way that they've aligned this with the promos is it seems like Jack Perry is going to be the first person he fights. Because Jack Perry's been talking shit, mentioning him by name, all these things. But I think the big match is going to be Omega and Okada. Like that's where they're going, right? At some point. So I don't know. It'll be exciting to see, but I think we're all in agreement that Fletcher wins this match because of Mark Davis. And then I think they do get Aussie Open back together for a smidge, and I could see them give him the tag belts. Give him the tag belts. Give it to him. I think that'll be fine. All right. Well, we just mentioned it. Let's move on over. Singles match for the AEW TNT Championship. It is, I almost called him Jungle Boy. It is the Scapegoat, Jack Perry, defending against Daniel Garcia. That's a good question, Center. We have not seen Okada.
No.
For a little bit here. Maybe he's on vacation. He went home for a little bit. I don't know. It's the holidays. I don't know. But I am kind of in agreement with you here, Drew. I think this has Daniel Garcia becoming the new TNT champion written all over it.
Which means my heart will now be broken.
I could see Jack Perry winning and them stretching this out a little bit further. The segment they had on Dynamite last night, I mean, they kidnapped Jack Perry. They just blatantly kidnapped him, had him tied up in some barn or garage somewhere, and they were torturing that man. But he was
I
like,
can see though. I can actually see where Danny being unhappy with how he's been, like, his personality lately. A bunch of a bulk of the story between the two of them has been that Jack is getting this different version of Daniel Garcia out that Daniel's not necessarily happy with.
Yeah.
That was the whole point of him beating up the scapegoat boss last night, 'cause he did it out of anger.
Yeah.
So maybe he does lose because of that.
He could.
So I could see that happening. I'm not going to be happy about it, but I can see that happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's possible. I think it's possible. But I'm aligned with you. I think it's time. He just signed. He just re-signed. They're presenting him in this light. And also the thing with Daniel Garcia is, yes, he is feuding with Jack Perry, but he is also on this he's part of the anti-Mox we have to save AEW crew as well. So he's got this okay. A part of me, I do think Daniel Garcia should win this match on Saturday. I do. And I think he should be the new TNT champion. But a part of me thinks something's going to happen where they stretch it out and he wins at Worlds. I could see that happening. I think I'd be okay with it either way. I really do. But I could see them trying to stretch it out and he wins at World End, but I think they should give it to him on Saturday. I think it's his time. With that being said, though, I think this is the best Jack Perry has ever been. I have enjoyed the hell out of this TNT title run with Jack Perry. I don't want to see him. Yeah, are you looking at Johnny's comment? I need to talk about the Death Riders because I have a fantasy booking thing with them, which we'll talk about at the main event. And we'll come back to that comment. And we got Sunday Sinner saying that he thinks the Death Riders cost him the match too. It could go in multiple ways. I agree. I do think this is, even though it feels like it's not the most unpredictable match of the night, I feel like it is one of the unpredictable matches of the night. I feel like it is because Jack Perry in this reign has been great. This has been a terrific reign for Jack Perry, and he's becoming that guy that we all knew that he could be. Like character, he's great. And I don't necessarily want Jack Perry to lose the TNT title, but I love Daniel Garcia, and I think it's his time. But, yeah, I don't know. Oh, we got Bonker saying, do we think we'll see Adam Copeland come back soon? Maybe not, but he's mentioning it in this match.
So,
but soon, I feel like he's healthy.
That just gave me an interesting idea. That gave me an interesting idea.
Yeah.
Again, this is a whole fantasy book because I don't know what Adam Copeland status is, but maybe an interesting thing would be Adam Copeland comes to help Daniel win. I don't know if I would say he turns on Daniel because I don't think he should be a heel yet.
Yeah.
Because we just got him as a babyface. And then now he's been injured for like 4 months, 5 months now.
Longer than that. Wait, who?
Was it longer than that?
Copeland?
Yeah.
I feel like it's been way longer than that. My sense of time is terrible, but I feel
Didn't that happen? Wasn't that all out that he got injured? Or am I?
That was way before then. It was even before All In. He broke his leg in the cage. Wasn't that a Revolution?
That's right.
Or something? Was that Revolution? That was earlier this year.
Revolution?
Was it double? I think it was even before. Was it Double or Nothing? It was early. I think he's been.
No, it had to be Double or Nothing.
It was the cage match,
Double
right?
or Nothing.
Hold on.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Double or Nothing.
I'm googling it.
But it would the
I'm
thing
googling
that
it.
would be
It was a while ago.
The thing that would be interesting to see is instead because Christian has this.
It was the same night as Sting's retirement match. So that was
that was Revolution.
That was Revolution. This year's Revolution, right?
Yeah.
So that's February. So he's been out for like 9
Holy
months.
shit.
Yeah, he's been out. No, oh wait, Sunday Center saying Double or Nothing. Oh, God damn it. When did it happen? Who knows?
Sinner said he
either
was
way-
checking it. So I
Either
believe
way,
Sinner.
it was either February or May. So he's been out for minimum 6 months. Minimum. Just Googled it, double or nothing.
Oh.
So he's been out for about 6 months at this current state.
Okay. So I will say then probably he doesn't come out. But if he did, I would rather have Christian cash his thing on the TNT Championship than the World Championship.
Oh.
Because when the hell is he going to cash this thing in at this point?
It's not going to be on Moxley.
Definitely not.
Well,
I don't think Darby wins either. So then what the hell happened?
You don't think Darby takes the belt from Mox down in the future?
I don't think. Well, I mean, look, he just definitively lost to Claudio.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's happening soon. I don't think it's at World's End or anything like that. Well,
they're going to have him carrying that thing
we
for
gotta
that
get there.
long.
We got to get there. Well, let's. All right. So we're in agreement. We agree that Daniel Garcia. That's what we feel right now. Okay.
Yeah.
We have one more match before we're at the main event. It is for the TBS Championship. It is Mercedes Moné, who it still says she'll be with Camille, but over the last couple weeks, why the fuck would Camille want anything to do with Mercedes Moné? Treating her like shit. Girls in a sling last night, getting thrown out of the ring. What are we doing? She's going one-on-one against Chris Statlander for the TBS Championship. How are we feeling about this? I think this is another victory for Mercedes. I think the match, though, will be great. I think this will be one of Mercedes' best matches since being an AEW. Statlander rules. This match should be great, but I think Mercedes, again, just wins because I think Camille is becoming the person that might take the belt from her. I think that's kind of what they're building to. I think they know what they have in Camille.
I actually disagree with you.
Really? You think Statlander's going to win?
I think Statlander wins.
I would have no problem with that. I would have
and
no
it's because
problem
of Camille.
Oh, fair. That's fair. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. I love Statlander.
She's got a new resurgence in the past 2 months. And I think that I don't hate Mercedes with the title, but Mercedes doesn't need it.
No. The only Mercedes to me, whenever they decide to take this belt off of her, she should never be not going for the women's main title. Period. End of story. It should be one of those things where I don't want her to become Cody, like Cody was in AEW, where she's not involved with the title picture. She's doing her own thing. Like I don't want her to do that. But at the same time, to me, she is above the TBS Championship. She's above it.
I don't disagree with you there, Sinner. But in this specific case, I've been really enjoying the story.
I have too.
And Camille, the thing with Camille is just, like she's just bossing her around.
Oh my God. Just treating her like absolute dog shit.
And I don't know why they pivoted to this all of a sudden. Because it really was just like, it was the SUV part.
Well, they tried to run over Statlander and she was calling her an idiot. You don't know how to drive and all this stuff. I got to do everything myself around here. And then they did the stuff.
It seems like that was just so out of nowhere.
Again. Yeah. It seems like it happened quickly. Like all of a sudden it was just like, oh, Mercedes is just a bitch now to Camille. Okay. And then it just happened which again, I'm not against it. I think that's one of the, Sunday Sinner is saying they're using the same old enforcer gimmick, but look what's happening with Nia Jax and Tiffany. It's the same shit. It's one of the gold standards of wrestling storytelling is you have the person treat their side. MJF and Wardlow, like it's one of the, I always joke around that wrestling has the same 8 to 10 stories. They just tell them in different ways, but it is what it is. Like this is one of the true wrestling angles of all time. Oh yeah, the main person treats the sidekick like crap until the sidekick has enough and sticks up to the main person. And
I don't know if they've done it have they done it too much? Because I can't really even remember the last one that they did it with.
Well, they did Wardlow and MJF.
Yeah, that was over a year ago.
That was a long time ago. They did Wardlow and MJF. They're doing Mercedes and Camille. They never got to it, but Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter was heading that way before Jamie Hayter's injury. Hangman and Kenny, to an extent, you could say, early on.
So did any of them happen this year?
No, Johnny, I think you're
In
right.
November.
Although the thing I will say though, like Monet needs to break the cycle of mid matches, and this is the one. It should be the one. I will say though, none of those mid matches have been Mercedes' fault. They haven't been Mercedes' fault, unfortunately. But yeah, I think this match has like, it should be quite good. It should be one of the better matches on this show. And again, I've been saying it every month, like this is the one I've been waiting for. Oh yeah, we were doing it with Luchasaurus and Christian, Britt and Hayter, Maria and Tony, Cole and Wardlow. Fair.
Okay, so the ones you can't mention Britt and Hayter, that was like 2 years ago. Like that's not an often. That doesn't classify too often for me. That's like you're comparing. There's 4 things that you put in there. One of them is never going to happen, probably, because we don't even know if he's ever going to wrestle again. I hope he's doing okay. Mariah and Tony is a legitimate one. That one I say, okay, yeah, that one was something that happened recently.
Yeah.
Cole and Wardlow was also almost a year ago now.
Yeah.
So one, we'll say 2 because of Luchasaurus and Christian. 2 were happening within the last 4 months.
Yeah.
The others happened over a year ago. That's not too often.
That's true. I agree. But anyway. All right, we're here. We are at the main event of the evening. It is a singles match for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. It is Jon Moxley going one-on-one with Orange Cassidy. We saw Orange Cassidy take an absolute beating last night. His hands were duct taped into his pockets, and Moxley and crew were just beating the crap out of him. Earlier in the night, we saw Orange Cassidy yelling backstage. Very rare that we see him screaming. First time maybe ever that I've heard him react that way on AEW television by yelling. But he asked everybody to stay in the back. He wanted to do it himself, and it led to him being duct taped by all the members of the Death Riders and beaten to almost a pulp before his friends came out. But at the end of the show, we saw him stagger to his feet. He put the sunglasses on, and he put his hands in his pockets to let Moxley and crew know that you can beat me down as much as you want, but I'm never giving up.
I honestly thought that when he was raising his hands, I thought he was just going to go like this. I really thought he was going to do that.
Yeah. I am excited for this match as well. Their match that they had last year when it main evented All Out for the TNT Championship at the time, I thought was one of the best matches AEW ever put on. I think this match will be better, but I think Jon Moxley retains because I do think it will be a numbers game. I think he will retain. And then I want your opinion of the match because then I have a little bit of a fantasy booking thing. Where I think this is going to go
I do
over the next couple
agree.
months.
Moxley will retain for sure.
Yeah.
But then also, I know that Darby is probably going to be next, but I'm just not like. Why do you have him take such a decisive loss last night if he's the next guy? You know?
Yeah.
So I'm starting to wonder if maybe they pivot a little bit, and I don't know if maybe something happens with Orange Cassidy where he either gets too into being angry and maybe he breaks with collaboration and maybe Darby and Orange Cassidy feud first.
Well, okay.
Something
so all right,
let's
yes, this is going to lean into my stuff. So all right, Sunny Center says I was pissed at first when Orange did his comedy kicks while being duct taped, But when I thought about it, it made sense. Mox wants to change everything about AEW, and OC showed him he's never going to change. I agree.
Okay.
I agree
Yeah,
fully.
that's a good analysis there.
I agree fully. Johnny's saying he doesn't want to see a schmaz with the conglomeration after, get a bunch of multi-man tags. I don't either.
I don't
think
either.
No. Bonkers is thinking Moxley retains like us. All right, so here's what I think. I don't know how they get there because the Darby getting a loss like he did last night kind of threw my shit off a little bit, the way it happened. However, I think Moxley retains. I think OC does a valiant effort, but I think he comes up short like usual, but I think everyone's going to be rooting for OC and pulling for him. I think eventually, by the time we get to World's End, however they do it, I think it is going to be Darby versus Moxley for the title. And I think Orange Cassidy's going to turn on Darby and he's going to join Moxley and crew.
Okay.
And I think that's what's going to happen. And then Moxley and then OC and Darby are going to feud early next year and Darby will beat OC. And then I think Darby beats Moxley at Double or Nothing for the title. There will be other things that get there. That's 7 months away or 6 months away. There'll be other things because he's going to have to get retribution against Claudio. Claudio beat the fuck out of him last night. So, but I think that's where we're going. I think that's where we're going. I don't think there's going to be any shenanigans on Saturday. I mean, I could see the Death Riders getting involved, but that's kind of to be expected. I don't know. That is shenanigans, but I don't really call that shenanigans because that's to be expected to me.
Plus, a few members of conglomeration are already involved in other things on the show.
Yes.
So, Ishii is going. Oh, we didn't talk about Jericho and.
That's not happening at the pay-per-view. That's on Dynamite.
Oh, that's right. It's not happening. Thank God.
That's on Dynamite.
Okay, so then Ishii will be available, but
yeah. Look at my thing is I don't think this is going to be mainly a one-on-one match, and it's going to be OC giving it his all, but I think he's just going to come up short. And then I think him coming up short, he's starting to wear black. Last night, Tony Schiavone, even though he's been wearing black for like a month and a half now, Tony Schiavone was like, I don't remember him ever wearing black. They're mentioning it on commentary.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that.
There was an interview with OC in the past where he's openly said, if you ever start seeing me wear black or you ever start seeing me wear different outfits, that means a change is coming. And I think him starting to wear black, I just think there's a chance here that down the line we see Orange Cassidy align or turn. And I think that is something we might get.
Christian is not going to be part of the shenanigans because he wants
I don't know if Christian will be a part of this. I don't know. The Moxley stuff seems to be something that Christian doesn't want to get involved with, even though he wants the world title. I just doesn't seem like something he wants to get involved with right now. I don't know.
Which is why I said maybe he just cashes in on
and he has
TNT champion.
And he has a history with the TNT title. I don't think that would be a bad thing, but I think it's establishing a precedent, whether it's a negative one or a positive one. But you would think if you have a chance to get any title you want, you should be wanting to go for the world heavyweight title. That is the most prestigious belt. But
maybe, but I mean, I think honestly, I don't think he ever needs to hold the world championship. I think
agree.
He made the TNT. He gave the TNT championship the prestige that like Brody Lee did.
I agree.
Like he made it a hot commodity, that title.
I agree.
So I'm totally fine with him just being like the TNT champion guy. And then maybe down the line, either at Double or Nothing or Revolution, him and Daniel Garcia then have a program.
Yep.
And then Daniel Garcia wins it back from him. So maybe like Revolution or something. And that maybe you could then maybe that's when Adam Copeland comes back. He's able to, for however long he's going to be out. And they go off on their own thing. And then maybe like I mentioned earlier, Kyle Fletcher, after doing a little bit of a tag run with Mark Davis, he starts to go after the TNT championship with Daniel Garcia.
Yeah, we can do that.
So
there's a lot of things they can do. I'm interested to see where the Moxley stuff goes, because it felt like to me it was OC and then Darby, but that match last night and the way they handled Darby just getting his ass kicked like that, it was basically like, okay, so we got to see where they go. But I think one thing is for certain, I think Jon Moxley is leaving Full Gear still the AEW World Champion.
And there's Jack Perry kind of aligned with them, but we don't know if that's really going to end up happening.
Yeah, we don't really know. There's a lot of ways that these things can go, because we do have a lot of angles that we don't really know where they are in the line of things currently. There's just different ways we can go. I wouldn't be shocked if Darby, like, because of what I would love it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I would love it. I would pop so fucking hard if he won it. I would pop so hard. I love OC. I have from the jump. I would love it, but I don't see it at all. I just don't. But it would truly shock me. It would truly shock me. And I would love it. But right now, I don't see a scenario. I really don't.
I was gonna say maybe this is where Kenny comes back,
Could.
but
I just don't think no.
so thinking back on how Tony Khan books, he doesn't usually do, like, I feel like it's more of a WWE thing for somebody to like return or debut or something and cost someone a match.
Mm-hmm.
I don't usually see that out of AEW.
Not a ton. Not
like
a ton.
the debut or the return happens after the match is over.
That's usually how they do it, yeah. Bonkers is saying that Darby will interfere. I could see that happening, especially if the Death Riders are down there, they're getting involved. I could see Darby being the guy that kind of comes down from the ceiling or pops out of nowhere. But again, that match last night, though, and the way that all went down and the way that he lost that match was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. It threw me for a loop. But we'll see. Again, this is a very strong card on Saturday.
I've said this in the past, and Sinner knows, because I was the one that was kind of saying that he fit more as a heel than Orange Cassidy did.
Yeah, that's fair. Maybe Darby turns.
Does Darby end up turning?
That could happen. That could happen. I could see
because
that.
I've been saying he's been very directionless since Sting left. And if they tell a story where he needs a central figure to reel him in, and Sting was that person, and since Sting has been gone, Darby's really been out of, he's been kind of focusing more on the whole, like, hey, I'm the guy that just does whatever the hell I want to do, and I don't care about my body.
Yeah.
And Sting was kind of like the one that said, maybe hold off a little bit. Don't go over the top with it.
Mm.
And now Darby is just directionless, and I could see maybe Moxley being that one that's like, hey,
come join
with me, kid.
Yeah.
Which he kind of was alluding to when they had their match.
Yep.
That would then put him losing last night in more. It would make more sense to me.
Yep.
That then he wouldn't be the one going after the title anymore after this pay-per-view. Maybe Orange Cassidy tries again at World's End.
Yeah.
But he never actually ends up turning heel.
Maybe.
The black, dressing up in black now is just kind of like a more serious tweak to his character.
Yeah, the more serious side of Orange Cassidy. I could see that happening. I could see it happen for sure. I don't know. I feel like and Johnny says it. He goes, AEW's getting a little bit, they're doing better with less predictable outcomes. I agree. I think there are. Look, if this card does have some predictable ones, but I think this card does have a couple matches, 2, 3, 4 matches where like multiple things can happen, and we're gonna have to kind of wait and see, and then talk about what we think and stuff like that.
Do we think maybe they do Ricochet and Takeshita?
They add it?
Yeah.
I mean, they should. I don't know why it's not on here, but I feel like that would be a very quick ad the day before a show. I feel like they should have built to it. I was expecting that to be on this show, to be honest with you. I wouldn't hate it if they added it on, because that's another banger match of the year quality type match you're adding to this show. When you have a show with Will Ospreay versus Kyle Fletcher and Swerve and Bobby Lashley and Jay White and Hangman, and you have Moxley and OC, MJ, like this show is littered with quality one-on-one matches that should be really, really great. If you add Ricochet versus Takeshita, I mean, you're adding another gem to a pile of gems, So I would not be against it. I just feel like that would be a match you probably would have wanted to announce and showcase more than just the day before on Rampage. You know what I mean? I feel like that would be.
Well, they did
But I feel
Bobby
like
Lashley's debut as a.
Yeah.
Hey, we're not even advertising this. Here you go.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see. All in all, though, I do expect Full Gear to be good. AEW really crushes it with their pay-per-views, no matter how we feel about the go-homes or the build-ups. The pay-per-views are usually always pretty damn good. And they're coming off Wrestle Dream, which is one of their better shows that they've done. So hopefully the trend continues. It's lining up to be a good one. We went a little bit over today, but we had good discussion that first hour before we even started diving in to Full Gear. So good discussion today. Thanks to everybody in the chat for watching along and supporting this show and supporting Drew and I. As we come, the Continental Classic does start next week as well. We do not know the field yet, so next Thursday we'll probably dive into the field because we'll know. But I do agree with Johnny. I do think some of these endings might.
Actually, we won't be doing that next Thursday.
Oh, yeah, no, that's right. Because we're taping it. All right, so the week after then. All right, I forgot about that. All right, so we should probably say that now before I hand it over to Drew to plug his stuff. But yes, we announced it earlier this week and last week. Next week at 10 a.m., you will be getting Firmly Love Wrestling on both Tuesday and Thursday like you all are used to. However, because of the holiday, we will not be here live. On Tuesday, we will have a show at 10 a.m. It will be a Survivor Series and Raw, the typical Raw recap, Survivor Series preview on Firmly WWE. And then on Thursday, you will also get, on American Thanksgiving Day, you will get a AEW Full Gear review. We probably won't be doing a Dynamite review because we're going to be taping that before Dynamite happens. So you'll get a Full Gear, full review. And then the following week, the first week of December, we'll be back doing it live. So we'll dive into the Continental Classic, which we should probably have a handful of first round matchups in the field to kind of dive into and talk about, because I am very excited for the Continental Classic. I thought that was a home run last year when they did it, and I'm expecting this one to be really good as well. So now that that's out of the way, Drew, let the people know where they can find you, what you got coming up the rest of this week before we got our week off next week, and then we will get out of here.
You can follow me on X/Twitter at the Drew Nicholas, and also on Blue Sky, Big Money Drew on Blue Sky. It's the same profile picture as Twitter, so you'll know it's me. And I collect the super chats and humper chats for Fightful's handful of shows at the moment because I'm filling in for Luis on some things. Usually I'm on the Collision post show every Saturday with Rick Cresta and Iridian. Mm-hmm. And the Bound Table Pro Wrestling podcast as well. You can find all the links for everything in the bios of everything.
Love it. Love it. You know the drill. JPJ Loves Gaming on all social media platforms, Twitch, YouTube as well. Tuesdays and Thursdays with this fine fella doing Firmly Love Wrestling. Tonight, 8 p.m. with Pluggo, the flagship here at Love Wrestling, Between Two Beards. We have Wells Mania joining us tonight. Very excited to talk to him. We'll be talking WWE. We'll be talking Survivor Series. We'll be talking Full Gear. We'll be talking soup. That's right. We're going to be talking all of it. So hopefully we'll see some of you in the chat tonight at 8 p.m. for Beards. But yeah, Drew and I will see you next Tuesday and next Thursday, but we'll kind of not see you next Tuesday and next Thursday. Hope everyone has a happy Thanksgiving next week. Safe holiday travels if you're traveling, all that fun stuff. Hope everyone enjoys Full Gear this weekend. Hope everyone enjoys Survivor Series next weekend. And Drew and I will be back live 2 weeks from 2 weeks, not next week, but the week after, to talk it all with you guys. But enjoy our previews and our reviews next week and enjoy the holiday. And until then, for Drew, for myself, and for everybody here at Love Wrestling, peace out.